Sit back, I'm about to sit back, I'm about to begin. Sit back, I'm about to begin.
So now that Juju and McColl are gone, now that we've seen the free agent wide receiver market dry up even more, and the Chiefs let Juju and McColl walk for team-friendly deals and have sat by as free agent wide receivers have signed team-friendly deals elsewhere, us Chiefs fans are left here wondering what exactly the plan is. Which is why we are here today to theorize what Brett Veach is planning to do at wide receiver. It's a very big question. It's a very big concern. Coming into the new league year, the free agent wide receiver market was bleak at best. In fact, it's one of the worst wide receiver markets I've seen in some time, especially when you consider the fact that last offseason, it was a wide receiver spinning frenzy league-wide. I mean, it was nuts how much money was going out there. Granted, there were bigger names because Juju was one of, if not the biggest name out there this offseason, got about $11 million per year. And now that it seems that OBJ is headed back to New York, but this time he's going to be playing with the Jets. That's according to all reports, unless something goes wrong. It does look like he's heading. Yeah, he's definitely heading that way.
I know that's one of the guys that Aaron Rodgers name dropped.
Yes, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
If the Chiefs are planning on adding a veteran wide receiver difference maker, it's going to be in a trade. As I've been saying all along, that is literally the route we're heading here because there's literally nobody else out there in free agency that you can say, oh yeah, bring him in, difference maker. He's just not there anymore. And look, I believe there are a number of wide receivers the Chiefs could realistically trade for, but how many of them actually fit the criteria of what the Chiefs are looking for, both in being a difference maker and won't cost the Chiefs a number of valuable picks and won't cost them a hefty contract extension? Brett Veach has been very intentional and has been very obvious in his approach when it comes to filling the wide receiver room. Not paying Juju team-friendly money, not even matching the Jets' one-year deal for McCole Hardman that has potential, not in total, the potential of getting to only $6.5 million, which is an absolute steal, tells me that they plan on upgrading while keeping the return assets low. So who is it then? Who are the Chiefs after? Who's a realistic trade option that fits the criteria of a difference maker that won't cost a ton to get and to keep? It's still DeAndre Hopkins. I am not going to reiterate what I have been saying for what seems to be months now as to how and why this trade makes all the sense in the world for both sides. So instead, I'm going to take it into a different route, Trevor, and I wanted you to go with me on this. I'm going to paint the picture to surround the scenario to enhance my point here. Here is a list of wide receivers that had more yards than D-Hop last season. You tell me which of these do you think, one, the Chiefs could convince their team to trade them away, two, trading for them wouldn't cost the Chiefs 2+ valuable picks to get them in a trade, and three, won't demand a big payday contract extension within the next year. So I'm going to go ahead and try to skim over the top because these are the most obvious ones. There's no chance in hell the Chiefs are getting these guys. Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, and Jalen Waddle. There's 0% chance the Chiefs are getting any of those guys in a trade this offseason, so we're just going to scrap that completely. Then after that, there's obviously Travis Kelce. Hey, what do you know? That's the guy the Chiefs already got.
He's good.
And then you have Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is going nowhere. He's got 2 years left on his deal. This guy has superstar potential. Pairing him up next to A.J. Brown was literally the goal in mind for the Eagles. There's no way in hell they're letting that guy walk.
Super Bowl.
Then there's Terry McLaurin, who I actually am going to put a little note on because that's somebody I want to talk about in a minute. Yeah. Amon-Ra St. Brown, nope. Sure. Amari Cooper, nope. Mike Evans, pin that one real quick. Christian Kirk, nope. Garrett Wilson, nope. DK Metcalf, absolutely not. Jamar Chase, LOL. Chris Olave, nope. Tyler Lockett, nope. T. Higgins, nope. Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Michael Pittman, T.J. Hawkinson, tight end, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Drake London. Are any of those guys getting traded this offseason to the Chiefs?
No.
Not a single chance. But Of those names, I only came up away with two that were worth mentioning, and I said put a note in them, Terry McLaurin and Mike Evans. And I'm just going to entertain you for a second on these two guys. And Trevor, if you disagree, if you saw another name on there that you think is possible, you can stop me whenever you want to. But these are the two names that I found on this list that I think are even theoretically fun to talk about when it comes to a trade. McLaurin, first of all, it's common sense. He's extremely talented. I think he would be a great fit in the Chiefs offense. In fact, last offseason, when I made my little wish list of a wide receiver that I wanted to see the Chiefs go after, he was second on my list, only behind A.J. Brown.
Yep.
And the Chiefs were in conversations with A.J. Brown so that you know that they were going down the list. And McLaurin would have been an absolute stud for this offense. And with the Commanders being an NFL purgatory with no starting quarterback in the middle of an ownership change, maybe, trading a 28-year-old wide receiver can get them a few picks to build off of. However, McLaurin has a dead cap of $27.8 million this season and just signed a $71 million extension last offseason. So the Commanders clearly view McLaurin as a long-term answer at wide receiver, so it would take a convincing trade offer for them to relinquish his talents to a team like the Chiefs. Plus, again, the Chiefs would have to be paying him more than what they would have been paying Juju and McColl combined by a substantial margin.
He'd be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's my next point. Now, McLaurin is a much better wide receiver than both of them combined, but based on the way the Chiefs have gone about this offseason, I would be shocked to hear that they're trading for at least a second and 2/4 to get McLaurin. It's going to take at least 3 picks to convince the Commanders to move off of him, and it's going to be valuable picks, early to mid-round picks, and then you're going to have to pay him that money that he's still got left on there, and then the Commanders are going to have to pay $28 million in dead cap. I just, even a dumb franchise like that, I have a hard time believing that trade would even exist. But again, these are just the entertaining ones, the ones I even felt had a percentage chance of happening. And then there's Mike Evans. Mike Evans is one of the best receivers over the last 2 decades and would be a stud no matter wherever he plays and whoever he plays with. That's been proven throughout his career, going from playing with Jameis Winston and Tom Brady. No matter what, there was no drop-off to his numbers. He's been a consistent Hall of Fame player in his career. I would love Mike Evans in this offense. Absolutely would love Mike Evans in this offense. Mike Evans is 30 years old and is set to make around $14.5 million in 2023. Going into the final year of his current deal, there's been no sign or signal that I've seen at least that indicates that the Bucs are looking to move off of Mike Evans. Nor should they. He has been their best, most consistent wide receiver for a decade now. And given the fact that the Bucs GM Matt Light just came out this month and said that the Bucs look to contend for a very winnable NFC South this season, seeing they just re-signed veterans like Levante David and Anthony Nelson while signing Baker Mayfield to play quarterback, I believe that they think they have a good enough team to do so.
I think so too.
Plus, the pressure of filling seats after losing their meal ticket and Tom Brady will force their hand to not only keep the team as competitive as possible, but to keep fan favorites in the house. No one on this team is more popular or more beloved than Mike Evans. Which is why if the Chiefs were to trade for him, just like Terry McLaurin, it would have to be a trade that gives the Bucs enough to justify it to their fan base. Not to mention, again, the Chiefs would be getting Mike Evans on the final year of his current contract, which means the Chiefs would have to extend a 30-year-old wide receiver. Yeah. In other words, this trade isn't happening. Which leaves, yet again, the only realistic trade that fits all the criteria and makes all of the sense. Trading for DeAndre Hopkins. Now, I know recent reports coming out of Cardinals camp, coming out of reporters, a reporter, Aaron Wilson, is stating that the Cardinals are asking for a second-round pick and something similar to what Christian McCaffrey's trade was. The Cardinals know they're not getting that. Christian McCaffrey was 26 years old and is one of the single best weapons in the NFL at the peak of his powers. Has he had injury concerns? Sure. But Christian McCaffrey is in his mid-20s. It made sense for that trade. And even when that trade happened, I said that the Niners gave up a lot. Yeah. It did pan out for them. He ended up playing very well for them, and I expect him to continue to do so for at least the next 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. But this isn't the same situation in any regard. So the Cardinals know they're not doing that, or they're pushing that to try to up the ante because they know they're not getting the offers they wanted. There's been a hard line set. I do believe the Chiefs are one of the teams that are in legit contention for DeAndre Hopkins because every other credible source and reporter has stated so. So much so that less than 72 hours ago, Albert Breer, who has his ear on the ground better than most people and has the know better than most people, has stated on multiple occasions that the Chiefs are in and interested on him and Odell Beckham Jr. Now, that doesn't mean they're getting either one or both. That just means that there is truth to what we have been sitting here and talking about and theorizing on. And based upon the market, based upon these scenarios of guys that would be an upgrade to what they just let literally walk out the door in Juju and McColl, and you're not getting any of those guys, what is left? Sure, I expect the Chiefs to draft a wide receiver or two. But how do we know those are upgrades? How do you know you're getting Juju Smith-Schuster and better? How do you know you're getting McCole Hardman out of this draft? Based upon what the Chiefs have done in previous drafts. Look at Sky Moore. Has promise. I like the kid. I think he's going to be special.
Yeah.
He had 250 yards last season.
Yeah.
In a season you didn't have Tyreek Hill.
Barely on the field, yeah.
Barely on the field. Was too busy muffing punts for half the season. No offense. Love Sky,
Wasn't
but that's
his
the
fault,
truth.
but, yeah.
My point is,
Shouldn't have been
we're
out
sitting here talking about a team that has a bunch of what-ifs. Even Travis Kelce going into this season can be considered a what-if.
He's an old
He'll
man.
be
He's gonna be
34 years old. Trevor, you and I are in our mid-30s.
Yeah. Happy
We're not
birthday,
old
Lance.
guys. Yeah, I know. Thank you. We're not old guys by any means.
Yeah.
But we know that we're not 23 years old anymore. We're not 25, 26, 27 anymore. Travis Kelce takes care of his body. He'll probably have a baller season next year. But you can't assume it anymore. And so that means that with Kadarius Toney, insane talent. Trevor, that's your guy. I love him too. But can we sit here with any definitivity and say, oh yeah, playing 15 games next season?
There's a question mark.
It's a huge question mark.
Yep.
So that means the Chiefs have to go out there and make something happen. Trevor, you and I are in the same camp, that we trust Veach. Man's got the benefit of the doubt. Helped the Chiefs get to 3 Super Bowls and won 2.
Yep.
So he gets the benefit of the doubt. But that doesn't mean we can't sit here and go, what are we doing, Veach?